So is it okay if we start the meeting now?
Yeah, sure, you can go ahead. Thanks.
Okay. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us to discuss this intriguing topic, like how to raise funds for startups with Mr. Felix Mbewe, who is the managing partner for Makumelo Consultancy and the business analyst for Unilever Southeast Africa. Thank you so much, Mr. Mbewe, for allowing us to have this conversation with you.
Oh, thank you so much, guys, and welcome everybody. I'm glad to be part of this conversation, and I know these are brilliant minds. This is amazing. I'm glad to have me here.
Thank you so much, but your voice is very low. I'm not sure if it's just on my end.
Okay, how's it now?
It's still low for me.
But on my end is just fine.
Oh, okay, all right. Then just my phone. I'll try to log out and in after a few minutes. So I'll be your host for today, Faith Kalwakaniki. So this is our outline for the meeting. We're first going to talk a bit about Unzabeka, then formally introduce our guests, then listening to the presentation, then finally we're going to have the question and answer session just before we close the meeting. So Unzabeka is a student-led association which aims at bridging the gap between theory and practice, and it does so using its subcommittees, which are 6. Finance is one of them. Then these committees have different projects running. We have the radio show, articles being published, and also we have classes about various tech skills that one can achieve, and the series of webinars we're having, like this one. So for now, I'll introduce the guest, Mr. Mbewe, formally. As I mentioned earlier, he's currently with Makumelo Consultancy as a managing partner, and also with Unilever Southeast Africa as a business analyst. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Philosophy and Development Studies at the University of Zambia, and is currently pursuing a project and supply chain management degree at the same university. In his work experience, he has helped start startups and also NGOs for them to get established. And for example, he was the initiator of the Zambia Conservation Farming Project, which was in the Central Province, Lusaka, Eastern and Southern. And he has also won and secured funds for projects with associations, organizations such as Love for Humanity, PYA, Ask Dental, and also OIDC. So I've left a few things out. You definitely fill us in as we move on with the meeting. Mr. Mbewe, you may take the lead with the presentation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Faith, and thanks once again, everybody else. I hope everybody is able to hear me clearly. From the introduction, Mbewe Felix, of course, are my names, and Mkomela is my middle name, which is the name we use for our firm. Our firm, it's a venture capital firm, though our bias is towards sustainable agriculture and a route to market for agro-produce. Though we also help out other businesses or other initiatives to gain access to either funding, investment, or grants. At the same time, I work now for a subsidiary, which is a distributor for Unilever in Zambia. And my career through and through has been in business development and business intelligence. And as Faith said, I'm a business analyst, and also I am a managing partner for a firm that we have with my colleagues. So I am a graduate also from the University of Zambia, and I'm glad to be back. I feel like I'm back at UNZA again. I'm still studying, finishing this year for my Bachelor of Science in Project Management and Supply Chain. So not to talk so much about what I'm doing and all, I know we'll get to ask questions towards the end. In my experience now for over 6 years, we've been fundraising, as I call it, and also sponsoring initiatives. I'll run you through what it entails or what you should do if you want to have money either for your profit-making venture or non-profit making. So let's have a good time. We'll have more time to ask and more time to listen to you. I'm here to help you. You're here to help me. And I'm hoping after the end of this conversation, one or two things should be realized. Before I get into my discussion, guys, I've observed many other times that we have associations in school inviting people, companies, and all, trying to maybe share the experiences or some knowledge, and yet we do barely nothing, or we just listen and looking forward to the next speaker. My wish is, after this, we should have something tangible, even just from one person or from just one activity or one initiative. So I'll go straight to the second slide. If it can be, you can take us to the second slide, please, the moderator. Okay. So on the second slide, I was basically telling you about what Mukomela Consultants does and our mission, which is basically to connect socially moved investors and funds. These are cooperatives, families, and individuals to either people or companies that can fund them. So we can go to the other slide. So you observe as we go to the slide number 3. Yes, there are a lot of words that are used if you are to deal with business or fundraising. So my focus today, like to sum it up, there are just 2 major ones. 2 only, wherever you go. It's either you're talking of a startup and one concern, which always is about the burn rate. So a startup, for a simpler definition given by Steve Blank, I can get some feedback. Can you try to mute? I think, I don't know whose mic is on. Okay, thank you. So saying a startup is defined by Steve Blank as a temporary organization designed specifically for a repeatable and scalable business model. So whenever you're starting a business or an initiative, the moment you have an idea, it's already a startup. Before you even get registered, it's a startup. So these startups do take time to scale up to a level that you can call it a business model or a business or a venture or a working entity. But there's a caution always and every time when you're dealing with business or making money or money making. Always, even after this presentation, I would want you guys to remember just this one thing: the burn rate. The burn rate, the caution is make it low. As you can see from the definition, it says it is the rate at which your business spends money before you generate positive income from sales and operations. Please keep it low, because this is the money that fuels your business before you make any profit. That is whether you're in profit making or you're trying to run an NGO or you're pushing for a social cause, it demands money. Nothing moves without money. You see on slide number 4 that we're talking of types of startups. There are basically 6 types. And if you can see from the slides, there is the first one, which is a lifestyle startup. This one, it's typically a person who's pulling out or pushing out their passion. They're trying to sell an idea. They're trying to sell who they are. They're trying to sell a brand which is inseparable from them. Then we have other startups, or startups graduate from a lifestyle. It can also go to a small business startup. This maybe works just on a scale of maybe 2 or more people or family size. So you'd find even businesses like shops or small shops running for years just at that level, at that size of a family. Then now we have the third one, which are scalable startups. Even before they start, in the mind of the proprietor or the initiator, they have this picture in mind that their business or their idea will grow. It's born to be big already. Then we have the fourth one, which are viable startups. These, they have acquisition targets. They have very big, very ambitious targets. They want to make a change. They want to make a sale. They want to push for a certain product, an innovation and all. So these, they are viable in the sense that you can sell that idea, or you can sell that business at some point, or you can have shareholders in different people, whether they can buy actual shares or they can buy, put in equity, money and all that. Then we have the fifth one. These are social startups. And if you've seen from my introduction, these are the ones that I've been passionate about for my personal reasons. Why? Because these are socially driven. They are both with a profit-making mindset, and at the same time, they're trying to push for a certain cause. So these, they drive to make a difference in society. Their aim is not just to make money. So you see that there are different kind of startups that we have. Of course, last but not the least is the large company startups. You find a company as big as maybe Zambian owned like Tradekins, the way it is. Somebody tells you it's a startup. Why? Because of the category of where it is. These are into innovation. They want to grow. They want to get bigger. And they are inviting more ideas. Like they're ever growing, ever changing. So you see, depending on the level or any particular state of your business or idea where you are, you have a different definition with those characteristics based on the things that you are trying to do or where you are or what you've done so far. I will quickly go also to the next part, which talks about fundraising now. You have an idea, brilliant idea. And by the way, we all know the struggle, the challenge we have with banks or getting capital, money for you to start your work. Capital is an issue, and banks hardly or never, ever fund ideas. Then now, you as a graduate or a young person still in school, or somebody out there with a brilliant idea, they want to get into making money, or they want to start a business. How do they sell the idea? Who's going to fund it? And these are the things that I want us now to spend so much time on. So you see, there are a lot of ways. I only speak about 5 ways to raise money for businesses, especially for startups. Then there's the 6th one, which is at the bottom. I'll tell you why it's a bit obscured and the reason. So each of these 6 very different startups that I've mentioned before, they have different financial goals. I mentioned those that have to do with the social cause, the difference in society, those that want only to make money. Those are goals. Then again, there are financial goals like, okay, I want to make 100,000 kwacha. I want to have a turnover of 1 million USD. All those are different goals. Therefore, all these, they will require different teams to execute and run effectively. And they will have different financial strategies and financing strategies as well. So fundraising is not just about, okay, Unzabeka has these people and they want money, so let's just give them money and let them go run their business. It's beyond that. You have to improve on the overall processes that you have as a business. Your management, the capacity of the organization itself to handle money, to handle situations that come with business. So you need to, in short, you need to have a better system as a company, as an organization, which will entice donors or investors to take more interest in supporting your work. So number 1, what you need to do is you can, for instance, if you've innovated an idea, a service or a product, you can decide to do pre-sales. These are orders made before you deliver, before you do the actual work. People allow you to get their money or to use their money, then you deliver your products later on. So you raise your money, you raise your capital, then there's already demand that you go and meet or go and supply to. Now, this only works out in instances where people trust you or people have bought into the idea of what you're presenting. The other thing is crowdfunding. This is one of the easiest ways of raising money, because if you don't have money of your own to start a business, you can do crowdfunding. What it entails is actually you pitch your idea, you pitch your business or that passion that you have to the would-be sponsors or funders. But these are really small in most cases. They're like micro donations, but you can begin there and build your business. There is also, to me, the most terrible one, which is credit financing, though it works out for already established startups, is where you get money from a bank, lending institutions. But remember, always, you have to pay off these debts before your business actually gets going. Why? Because it's going to affect your capital. It will affect your cash. It will affect your cash flow. Why? For instance, there are a lot of things that affect your paying back of the loan. It could be circumstances within or beyond your control, and that always will affect you. And in most cases, it might even affect your personal assets or monies. So to me, unless you're really, really sure, never borrow to start a business or to finance a venture which is starting. Then there's another one, which is from your personal assets. This is one of the easiest, one of the most common one that we've seen people raising money from their personal assets, personal savings. This is their money. They save up, maybe you're doing some work and with a vision, with an ambition, with a mission to start a business someday. Then later on, when you have enough capital, you start out from your personal interest. Then there's also what we call pay as you go. It's also known as bootstrap. This is a very cost-effective way to make your company's capital or to have capital as far as possible. Why? Because with this method, you get to work out your projectiles, you get to do your projections, and you get to know what is needed, really, really needed in the business. Then every money that you make, every money that you comes across you save it up towards that purpose. Though this is where most of us are, especially in Africa and in Zambia, to be specific. People really plan to say, okay, I want to start this. You get to have after you save up for that particular purpose, you get to have to start the business. But the whole issue is that it takes a while, it takes time. You have to save up a lot. And so I've been asked to talk about the examples of crowdfunding anyway. I'll get to that later. But it's the simplest example I can tell you is maybe the Chilimba concept. People will put up money and all that. Then I'll go straight. I want to run through these things quickly so that we can get to have more time to talk. On the other slide, where we talk of earlier, I was trying to mention how you can raise money for profit for making businesses. But now I'll go straight to NGOs or the social enterprises, which is a hybrid of profit making and non-profit making. But NGOs, some of you might have passions, ideas. You want to save your community. You want to push for a certain cause. There's an agenda you want to push for. But did you know that NGOs actually demand more money than a business? Why? Because NGOs, their entire lifespan depends on grants, depends on donations, depends on social money. In a real sense, they don't actually work for what they don't really generate income. So now, here's you who's from scratch and you want to start up an NGO. How can you raise money? Of course, you need to register, you need to do legal registrations and all, but how do you get to have money? So there are typically 5 ways on how you can raise money for NGOs. In the first place, the cause that you're pushing for has to be justifiable, has to be believed people have to believe in that and people have to buy into that idea. I'll give an example. Things to do with climate change. It's like a big thing now. And everybody wants to subscribe to that. So say this is Faith. She wants to start a climate change initiative. But you cannot do an NGO alone. You need to have a team. Then you can either decide to put up a membership fee, people subscribe and pay that. From that money, if you're in advocacy or you want to do the actual work on the ground, you choose if that will work out. Then secondly, NGOs get most of their monies from private donors. These are companies, mostly profit-making companies. They do their CSR with a lot of NGOs. So you can approach quite a lot of companies, even just here in Zambia, who can help you with, I gave an example of, say, climate change. If we have an initiative to do with recycling or anything, those are better places or companies that believe in sustainable growth that you can visit. Then there's also a sale of goods and services. Some NGOs, I can give an example of Habitat for Humanity, which are into making better housing for the underprivileged. You realize they don't give out their houses for free entirely. There's somebody who's got to meet that cost. So again, that's another example. Then there's also an NGO, like for example, the one I'm part of, the Village Improvement Program under Love for Humanity, where we focus on empowering farmers with not only skills, but a market for their produce. So that market now, for anybody to trade from there, in as much as it is not for profit, they have to pay something. There's a levy. So that's an example of how you can sustain yourselves as the people in charge or the ones running that NGO. Then there's where most of the money comes from. It is from the grants. This is the donor money. And this is where the most of the money is. So let me spend a little bit of time on this. For those of you that have interest in starting up not-for-profit businesses or not-for-profit organizations, you will definitely need grants. You will need money, you will need it, and a grant is the best way you can get such kind of monies. I can give you an example just to do an agricultural. Sorry guys, I'll keep on going to agriculture, it's my passion. You need not less than 1 million kwacha to do in a year, say for 1,000 farmers. But who's going to give you 1 million kwacha? Meaning your idea, your passion, your interest should also become an interest for the person giving you that grant. So how do you now get to motivate or entice or make your would-be financiers interested in the idea that you have? So what really happens now is this. You realize that the people that fund activities like the one I mentioned, or to do with healthy and other things, they are interested in one pushing for their mission or their agendas. Meaning, as you push for these finances, as you look for grants, as you look for money, the best you should do is get to understand who are the major players in that space. If it's agriculture, who are the people who are interested in agriculture? If it's health, what kind of health matters are you dealing with? You also need to know all that. Now, I hope you're able to see there are some takeaways that I've put on the far right about NGOs. Hello?
May you kindly make Alan Kawina as the host again so that he can share the screen for us?
Okay, let me just look out for Alan. Okay, I've made Alan as a host. So let's just wait for him to share the screen again. Okay, Alan, are you able to share the screen again? Okay, let's just wait for it to pop up. Yeah, so the key takeaway is that you should kindly go to, is it slide number 6 or so? Yeah, the key takeaway is that you need to remember as you go through the process of looking for money for your non-for-profit initiatives. One is, remember that all NGOs, they play a very critical role in international development aid and all that. Therefore, you need to have information about how international organizations work. Number two, you also need to know by definition that your non-for-profit making venture has a huge budget, but you can always start small and grow like that. Then there are a lot of different NGOs that you can get into or start up. Find out more about that. Then you rely also on government funding. If you didn't know, by the way, that most NGOs, in as much as they are not for the government, most of them are funded actually by different governments. Then you can also rely on donations and membership subscriptions from your members. Okay, so we can go to the next slide where we talk about, you have an idea, but how can that idea be funded? Projects that are funded. So there's one fact on the next slide, which according to, there's an organization called Fundable. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so you realize that less than or only about less than 1% of startups are funded by what we call angel investors. I hope you guys are able to see the slide, the next one after the current one. Okay, nice. So there are, in the business world, there are these that we call the angel investors. These are big guys. These are people that we all look for to help us start a business or to help our business fuel up or to start moving. Now, remember, in most cases, they are very experienced people. They have a lot of years in business. They have the money and they are looking for an initiative or a business where to put their extra money in. But less than 1% globally of the businesses are funded by such people. And we've seen some are helped by venture capital firms. And about 55% of startups are funded by personal loans and credit. Then 38% is through help from families and friends and personal savings. But I, for one, why? I believe there's a space we haven't exploited, which is to do with angel investors. I'll give examples of, maybe if you know of maybe the top 10 rich people in Zambia, or just people who have money. Those are the kind of people I'm talking about. How can you have, for example, have GBM, HH, or the Litias of Zambia fund your activity? So these angel investors, or as individuals, as I said, when they see that something is making sense, they're always willing to take the risk. But always, they're very careful people. You can never lie to them. They know what they're always talking about. You just have to be so honest with them. But the moment they buy into your idea, trust me, you're good to go. Then there's also another benefit from raising money through angel investors, is that they are always going to be there for you, to mentor you. They'll be with you through and through as you go through your trainings, as they teach you, whatever you do, any decision you make, you actually get to learn a lot from such experts or people with a lot of experience in business. Then they can also link you to their own strategic partners. For example, you want to start a business to distribute things or to supply things or to make a product. Your angel investors will always be people they know a person who does what in the market. So they're always there. They're always there to push you, to link you to the right people. Your network becomes easier, it grows faster because there's somebody who is linking you to these people and they've been doing it. So they will easily make phone calls. They will easily link you to the right people. Then there's also another benefit. These guys, they have experience, as I said. Then they will make sure you can do cost savings with them, because what you should have used your money, they're able to use their monies. The only thing maybe that you might bring is on the table is your idea or your product. Then keep in mind that those investors will be with you until your costs are lower than the money that is coming in. But the caution is, in business, they want money. So within a period of say 3 to 5 years, they'll start demanding for their returns. So you need to keep that at the back of your mind, that even as you deal with such investors, such individuals, the relationship you have with them, it's money, and they would want their money to grow. So there's another program, for example, that we run as a firm that we focus on teaching startups. These are business incubators. You can see on the next slide. This it's another way you can raise money, because you get to interact with the people already in business, with firms that are already raising a certain class of people who are business minded already. So the business incubators are simply masterclass for funding and business. So this is another way that you can use to raise your money. You can have yourself registered. I'll give you an example. Besides us, there's, for example, Bongo Hive. It's popular. There's Growth Africa. There's Open Capital. There are a lot of them. They always invite ideas. They always invite people with ideas to register with them. Then they get to teach you. You go through certain classes until you reach a certain level that they're able to fund you. Though, on a slacking side is that, well, we tend to get slower in terms of funding your activity, because we want to be sure that our money will not go to waste. And again, it's not like we'll just dump or ditch money with you. We'll have to grow with you. So in most cases, your business and what we do becomes one. So it has its own advantages and disadvantages, but the advantage is you have mentors, you have people to grow with you. Then these activities, like I've observed, they're in Lusaka, most in towns, but don't be discouraged if you come from very far or you're far from town. You can also participate. Then there's also contests that you can participate in if you want to raise money. So for contests, these are just competitions. There's a Tony Lemu, there are all those that are advertised now online. They are very good. If your idea is liked, well, it can be funded. Now, we have the don'ts, risks, warnings as we get into business. So, next slide, please. You see the type of warnings or risks that are involved in business, or the warnings that you should never try. It's a more reason why we are here. We show you what we've experienced so that you don't get to go through the same mistakes. So it's good that you guys have been pushing for such things now, whilst most of you are still in school. You will learn about the do's and don'ts of business, especially for a startup company. So when you're trying to raise money for a business, you have to think outside the box, guys. Now, this is a common terminology people use about thinking outside the box. People will tell you about do this, don't do that. But the truth is this, I'll not lie to you. When you're doing the actual practice, get it from me, guys. The experience that you'll get is completely different from what you were taught or from what we're discussing here. But the truth is you are being prepared. You are going to learn, you are going to anticipate. So that even if a challenge which is different from what you're exposed to comes, it will not affect you. You'll be ready. So you can do a lot of things, as I said, but always and always, I've even put it in red, your burn rate, those are your monies, your personal monies. I don't know if in BC is still there. Those are some of the things we used to use to try out businesses at the time we were at school. But your personal money, it's depressing. This is the truth. Your money will go. You think you'll never recover. Time is going. Yet you need to sponsor yourself. You need to fund the business. You need to fund the initiative. So what happens, as I've said, make sure that you do your cost benefit analysis properly. Know and know for sure that your business should not kill you at the end of the day. It should pay you. So even the struggle, the sweat, the money, everything, the energy that you're putting in, one day should pay back, but it should not eat up to a level that you can't survive. You've heard of stories, I know, success stories of people who stayed in car parks, lived in their cars, people who are being kept, people who became homeless. Well, for me, for one, I don't believe you should get to those extreme levels in order just trying to push for a business or an agenda. Live a balanced life. Then bank loans, as I mentioned, guys, it will eat you up if you're starting a business. That's if at all they give you. That is if at all they give you. For me, I believe in one principle, which is on the next slide. It's in opposite, it's antagonistic. So it's do not chase money, let the money come to you, attract it. Because if your agenda is to push for the money, the next dime, the next coin, the next kwacha, that's how far the money will be running away from you. So how do you attract money? It's one of the things now that I would want to talk about if at all I'll be invited next time, or if at all there'll be a slight time to talk about that. But guys, business is easy. It has its own challenges. Enjoy the process, love it, and you'll be definitely amused at how much money you can make from doing simple things and repeating some things and innovating. I can give you examples right now, as I even introduced myself, that I'm not a person that believes in just talking. I believe in doing. I started doing this for the love for humanity, agriculture, and all the time I was in second year at school. Today, as you know, you can proudly walk through Chikwalen in front of Lusaka Girls. There's a market. I'm part of that initiative. You can go to Shiwuyunji, you can go to Chadiza, you can go to Mamba, you can go to, like, there are farmers that have known me and you've done so much. Why? Because of passion and interest and finding out what we need to do. So I have products right now. Then Food Lovers, before it was closed, we had our strawberries, we had our popcorns, like a lot of things which I'll share with your executive to give you some of the things just as pictures. You can look out for them, and just to be more, I want you to get encouraged. Not because I come from a very well-to-do family or anything, but because of the passion that I have. I do a full-time job and I have all these things running. So as we get to interact, you get to know about how we can manage our time, how we can balance between work and side hustles and all those things. But all in all, it's been amazing talking to you. I know people are listening and people want to ask questions. I can see questions popping up. For now, I end here. If you have questions, keep them coming. And yeah, we can have one person trying to, maybe Alan can open for me the questions, or I can just check there in the chat. Okay. Leave your comments here. Any examples of crowdfunders in Zambia where one can actually go to pitch the idea and gets funded? Okay, so I think I answered this in passing. I talked of you can do Chilimba as a group, as friends, as people. Then if you want a more organized thing, you can go to Bongo Hive, you can look for Growth Africa, you can look for Open Capital, you can look for us, Mkomera Consultants. You can search for, we are not quite many, but we are there. Then they'll give you their platforms where you can sell your idea. Then, okay, key features that should the business proposal have to make it secure funds. Okay, I have a basic template which I can share later on that has all the features that a standard proposal should have. And in the end, please remember, as I said, what makes it sell out, it's not just the content, it is you, the person, you the owner. You need to sound convincing when you're given that platform to sell your idea. Because the final decision about whether to fund your activity or not, it's about how your initiative will sell or not, or the impact that your NGO or your social enterprise will have on the community. Then what happens if you fail to pay back? Okay, before you sign for any loan, any credit facility, there's always conditions. So read the terms carefully. Don't just sign for money or a loan from a bank or lending institution. Find out more about the consequences of you failing, genuinely failing, or deliberately failing. There are always consequences. You find out more from the lending institutions. Then, when is your consultants having an incubator program, having classes to mentor? Okay, so I'll share our link to the website. We have something which is running right now. You can check it out on our site and register for those of you that will be interested. Then what are some of the challenges you faced on trying to secure funds and how did you overcome them? I'll give you an example. Right now, if you will search for AgriHope, it's an organization based in the US and in South Africa. One challenge we faced was getting a partnership deal with them. They're very big. We had, I think, about 2 challenges. The first one was us were a startup, we're just students then reaching out to a big NGO like that and wanting a partnership, an MOU to say we want to do this, yet we didn't have money. So what we did was we wrote a proposal, we wrote a lot of mails, a couple of emails to sell that idea. They're into conservation farming, but their initiative was, we were saying, you guys are focused on production. We want to add value to the produce. So for example, we have the tamarind juice, we have the strawberry juice, we have popcorns, we have a lot of things, honey, all that. We said, all these things that you're promoting to be produced sustainably or organically, we can add value to that. So they said, okay, so what are you going to do about it? Do you have the machinery? Do you have all these? So we were saying, okay, we can start on a small scale. We experiment, and always we're trying to find a way to convince them until finally they jumped on board. So that's just some of the things that I can tell you. Then also the same market that we have, Chikwa, we had to go through a lot of processes with the government, the mayor, and all, but eventually it passed out, it's there. And there's like activities going on. So there are things, I feel, I for one, if you are determined about something, whenever you find a barrier, always find a way to deviate around it and allow yourself to not get frustrated, but find a way out, or find an alternative way, or reach out always to people who've done it before, or those who've never done it, but you think they can advise you. Then what are some of the examples of burn rates and how can they be kept low? An example is maybe your income from, say, BC, or if your parents give you money or you are doing a part-time job, you get a 1,000, a 2,000. Then your expenses, maybe those of you who are dating, if you're a guy, You're giving somebody, your girlfriend or that person, the 500 kwacha from your 1.5, you have a 1,000 kwacha, meaning you have expenses. Now, out of that 1.5, make sure that not all that now is depleted, and now you start even telling maybe your girlfriend, or you stop wearing proper shoes and all that, stop looking nice in the name of saying, I am building an empire. It doesn't work like that, guys. Then how do you balance your time between your full-time job and all these programs you're currently running? Okay, I work from Monday to Saturday half day. The strategy I've used is this. Guys, by the way, I studied philosophy. So it's not like I was this guru, a person that talks now about these things. If I talk of agriculture issues, you might think I'm an agriculturist by training, but no. Or a finance person, but I've learned these things through experience and through passion and interest. And the job I do right now, it's practically a job for people who have a background in economics and finance, but I'm able to understand those things now because of passion. So how do I balance these things now? There's work, there's this side program that I do. To me, it's easy. I work through people. I found this initiative to be the best. Pay them what is due and always reach out to the right people. If in this group or in this chat, we are all social scientists and you maybe want to start a hospital, you need to work with doctors, or you want to start an engineering firm, you need to work with engineers. Meaning it will not be you doing the actual job. You push for deals, you push for business, things that you can do through emails, appointments, and all that. But in the end, you need the actual people. Like in my case, I need professional agriculturists to work on the farms and all. I need accountants to do our projections, to do our financial modeling models and all that. You see? So the balance always comes in by having the right team. The right team, the right people. And the best you can start with is your colleagues. They will understand your pockets. Others, if you just reach out to anybody or a profession, you reach out to me, I'll charge you, but your friends will not charge you, and you can learn from such. So I think those are the questions that were posted here. If there's anything else that you need to discuss or have a chat about, I'm always here. And there's always a platform that you can get to reach out to me. My contact details are there. If I don't get to pick up, you can drop me an email, a WhatsApp, a text, or there's always going to be somebody who's going to answer or attend to you if it won't be me. Then when the last part, I've shared the website, my Facebook, LinkedIn profile, they're all there. Otherwise, this has been an amazing opportunity. I'm glad nobody asked about how old I am, and I will not tell you until when some of you see me. We cannot do it, guys. Thank you so much.
How old are you?
Okay, I'm still very youthful. I turned 30 this year.
That's amazing.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's get to talk on Facebook. Felix Mbewe, there's a middle name, Mkomera. You know it's me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for the session. That was very interactive. We'll definitely share the details in WhatsApp groups. I will also share the presentation and everything else. Just a quick reminder that please do make sure to pay your membership fee for the Beka, which is only 45 kwacha for the entire year. And we'd also like to thank Mr. Mbewe once again for allowing us to have this conversation with him, Vova listening for making it possible, and also the Zika chapter for the support. So this is where we end our meeting. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.